But did you just remember to turn the recording on?
Yep.
Nice. But yeah, so it's fine. Whatever. It'll hopefully get better. I don't see anybody anyway, except for going to like shows, and I saw nobody there anyway. There was like nobody fucking there. So
Yeah.
you had a show this weekend. How was that?
I did. Bellevue Art in the Park. It was it's down the river. It was my 6th time doing it.
Wow.
It was my 3rd show I ever did. So back in
Okay.
2016, I think it was technically my first show that I did in Northern Kentucky
Yeah.
back then, and that was one of the 3 shows I did in 2016 to start my selling career.
Aw.
Yeah, 6th time doing it. I feel like it's kind of like plateaued a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I kind of know what to expect. Like I know I'm going to sell over 1,000, but
That's about it.
it does like ebb and flow a little bit with if the weather is like kind of tricky.
Yeah.
That can definitely have an effect on it. So, it's kind of a roll of the dice sometimes with that show. But I sold 1,600.
Damn,
Which is good for a
nice.
one-day show.
I know you
And
already told me this, but I completely forgot what you said, so I am genuinely surprised.
yeah, I think last year I sold 1,300, 1,200,
Okay.
something like that.
I think I recall that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've been kind of hitting around 1,000, a little over 1,000 the last,
Yeah.
few years. So, and then we've had some in there where it's rained torrentially and they like moved it
Yeah.
to parking garage and it was like terrible sales because people didn't want to come out even though it was dry
Yeah.
in the show. And then there's been days that it just rains a lot. But I would say if I didn't have returning customers, that would be a little tougher of a show.
Yeah, for sure.
Like for new people doing it, I mean, for new people, it's not as bad because the booth fee is pretty reasonable. I think it's like $75 for the booth for a one day, which is pretty good. And for a 10 by 10, and there's not a ton of art. I think there's about 60 artists in it.
Okay.
And there's a good mixture of like fine art and craft. I wouldn't say it's like top tier art show of Cincinnati, but it's like I would say it's like a mid range like art show. Arts and craft
it's
show.
like an art show where normal people can go and buy art.
Yeah. Like you're not going to see a bunch of like huge canvas paintings and huge like awe-inspiring like paint drawings or like prints of photography and stuff. You're not going to see $1,000 pieces there.
Right.
So yeah. I'm considering whether I want to do try out a different one next year, maybe, because there are some other ones.
Then I'll take your spot. I'll just go up with an RD ceramic sign and then have my own work. Perfect.
I feel like you could do that show and like you probably wouldn't do that bad because your price point's like a good spot.
Yeah. I am going to raise my prices a little bit soon.
Yeah.
Once the farmer's market is over, prices are going up.
Are you doing that just because you're not going to be selling as much? So you want to make it worthwhile when you do?
That, but also, I think we kind of talked about this last week also because, like, I'm not, like, when I started doing, like, shitty cups and stuff, it was because I was just doing it on the side and it was fun and, like, and now I kind of have to, like, pay bills.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which kind of sucks. Like, it won't go up a lot. I'll probably just move them up to where they used to be. $20,
like $3 to $5 raise. It's not going to be like significant.
It's going to be very insignificant, but
yeah. And then the only other thing from the show I got, they have fine arts and fine crafts categories.
Okay.
I think it's pretty split. There's probably 25 craft or 25 art, fine art, and then there's 35 or so craft. I think there's a few more craft.
Yeah.
And there's probably 7 or 8 potters there. And I ended up getting honorable mention in fine craft.
Hell yeah.
So I think the way they do it is first and second get a ribbon, and then there's an honorable mention. So I don't think there's technically a third place. I think there's first, second, honorable mention, which is kind of weird. But there's not really a ton of artists, so
you're the loser of the winners.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, I got recognized.
Yay!
So Yeah, and I got a check for $55. So.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
So you got your booth fee back?
Yeah, just about, or my booth fee for next year. Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's what they should do. They should just, instead of giving you a check, be like, you can have a check for money, or just like pay for your booth fee next
I
year.
believe that's what they do if you win first place in fine art and fine craft. You get, I don't know if it's a check as in what a booth fee for next year would cost.
Yeah.
Or if it's like you automatically get a paid booth fee.
And
I think
then
that's what it
maybe
is.
a check, yeah.
And a check. Because, I mean, they want you to come back anyways.
For sure.
Because I think they also have like a poster contest where they have artisans create posters or whatever, or they pick a like specialized thing to feature for their artwork for the year. So they end up typically having that artist in the show. So I think that person also, if they get selected, they get a booth fee or something like that.
Yeah.
That they use for the advertising.
It's interesting. Me and Taylor, Taylor from Backyard Kiln, we're talking about how, because I was like, oh, I did fucking terrible at the show that I did yesterday. It wasn't really a show. It's just kind of like a pop-up. And I made like $100 because nobody came. Literally, like nobody came. It wasn't
$100 total. And what did you pay for the booth?
Like $50.
Uh-huh.
Which is ridiculous. I thought it was 25 for some reason. Absolutely not worth it at all.
Wow.
And I don't know.
Anyway, how many were there? Like, how many vendors were there? Was it just there's too many vendors for the amount of people coming? That's even the same
thing too. Like that's a lot of it too. Like there was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 vendors, but like 4 vendors didn't show up. There was like 4 tables that had like signs on them, and they just didn't fucking show up.
Oh gosh.
Like
that tells you how serious they take it, right?
Right, like fuck you, man. And then yeah, and it's in this like distillery, and it's in this distillery building, and they didn't even open up the door. Like, okay, retail, doors closed, stores closed. Like, dude, open up the fucking door and tell people that like you can go inside. Like I know you have AC, but that doesn't matter.
The door to the show or the door?
Yeah, the door to the show. It was closed, and I didn't want to be like that like person that was like, "Yo, can we fucking open up the door?" And it was really chilly in there too. But yeah, like they didn't.
So they would have had to make an attempt to come into the show.
Right. It's like
versus the
it was distillery. Like kind of like an event center right next to this distillery, essentially. And if I'd gone into the distillery, I'd have never even known that there was people next door. Like never even known. And so
by distillery, you don't mean like there's like a bar serving drinks. You mean like they have tours at the distillery, or they actually have
it's a bar serving drinks.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Do people frequent that a lot?
I think so.
Or they would have to like, because I would feel like a distillery is way less foot traffic than a brewery, for instance.
I think this one has a fair amount of foot traffic. They do have food, and they have really good drinks and stuff, and it's pretty popular. Okay. So, but yeah, it was just kind of like, and then they were like, well, maybe you should come down to Louisville, and I was like, maybe I fucking should. And then we were just talking about it, and I was like, maybe it's just fucking indie. Maybe it's indie. Like I know that Rebecca does pretty well at some of the shows that she goes to. And I know that some people do pretty well, but like maybe it is indie. Like it seems like you have zero issue selling in Cincinnati, like regardless of where you go. Do you think it's just
the overall general like support for artisans and art and stuff like that?
Maybe I don't know.
Doesn't have as big of a I want to say following, but like as big of an appreciation.
Maybe I do feel like the more southern you get, the better appreciation they have for arts.
The thing is, like, I don't even feel like Louisville I get as good a support as I expect to.
Yeah.
When I go to those shows as well. So
I don't know. I mean,
I feel like it's always a little bit of a crapshoot when I try Louisville shows, and I'm like, yeah, I want to get outside Cincinnati and like try some shows in Louisville and Lexington and whatnot. But
Cincinnati's such a good
very
spot.
Selective of which ones work and which ones don't. So
yeah, you're in like an extremely good spot for pots. You know, like you're in an extremely good spot. Now, I'm not saying that it's all of Indy. Obviously, it's part of me too, or part of like the venue that you choose or whatever like that. And this was like a last minute thing. I didn't expect anything from it, so I wasn't surprised about it. But yeah, so I'm like doing a show next weekend, so we'll see how it goes. That's like an actual show, so we'll see. That's like my second quote unquote actual show. But like this year, just because of like financial things, I couldn't apply to any shows that were like huge, that the fee was really expensive. I know Penrod happened this last weekend.
Yeah, I wanted to see how Sarah did there. Maybe we can talk with her the next time we chat. Because I'm curious about her work fitting in with shows locally and see like how successful she is, if she's meeting expectations, not meeting expectations, if there's differences. And so I'm curious how that kind of goes. What's your show that you're doing, like official show that you're doing next week?
It's at Beech Grove. It's going to be small again, but it's an actual show, and there's not a ton of people in Beech Grove, but it should be good. So, yeah.
A ton of people as in like residents?
Yeah. It's a smallish town.
I mean, I think the show just depends on, I don't think it's all just people that are in that town. Like at least the shows that I do in Cincinnati, like there's people that come from all over the city that come to shows. Like they don't have to live within a 15-minute radius of the show to come to it.
Yeah.
If they know about it, then they come out and it's like, they'll drive 30 minutes to a show and
for sure
make a day of it. So, one thing that was cool, there was a customer of mine that has bought things on Etsy that actually lives in Florida, and her family lives here, or she has I think her son lives here, and she came to visit, and she came out to see me at the show, and like introduced herself and said like, hey, I bought stuff from you online. It's nice to see your stuff in person, and make that connection. And I didn't know her name until after the show, and she like wrote me on Instagram. I was like, oh, that's who you were. Okay.
Yeah.
So she's bought from me like 4 times, I think, or at least 3 or 4 times, where it's like, it's a name that I would recognize as like, oh yeah, she's a repeat customer.
Right.
Which is nice.
That is nice.
Just when I think sometimes posting about local shows on Instagram is kind of like, it doesn't really make sense. Like in a sense, it does still move the needle a little bit, even if it's just the frequency of posting about it enough that people like know where I'm located and know what shows I'm doing, because I advertise it enough. So if people want to know or want to get something, they know that, oh, he's in Cincinnati. Let's see what shows he's doing.
Right. So I'm looking at this Instagram of this bar, or not bar, but the distillery or whatever. It's called Hotel Tango. And they didn't even advertise.
Was it hosted by them, or was it an outside third party that hosted it?
It was hosted by them, and they told us we had to advertise. And they didn't even advertise anything. They just, like, I'm looking at their Instagram, and I actually looked at their Instagram to see earlier, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm not like, I guess it's not this place,
Places like that, I feel like I even have to ask them like, hey, can you let me know if there's going to be a Facebook event created for it so I can add it to my page? I would love it. It's kind of like a nudge for them, like, hey, you should create a Facebook event for this if you haven't yet, because that's automatically going to like remind people and all that stuff. So that's a bare minimum, and then they can post it on their own page. People can share it. Artists that are in it can talk about it.
Right. And like
put it on their website.
There was one for August, so it's not something that they don't advertise. It just seems that like they just decided this one wasn't worth it. I don't know. Like fuck you.
For the artisans that are like, hey, you need to promote it, but like, where do we direct people if they want to find out about the show?
Right.
Like, do you send them to the Hotel Tango website? Because is there an event on their event page that lists out all the vendors so people can see who's going to be there? Or
right, yeah, they said something about that, so it's like I wonder if they did have
I feel like these days that's a bare minimum. Like to show that it's a legit show, you want to at
Right?
least have some kind of documentation about what the show's about.
Oh shit. Okay.
So
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I mean, events. Events.
how are you
Events.
typically finding out about the shows that you're getting into? Is it always secondhand from Rebecca? That's like, hey, I've
So,
done this before. Can
yeah,
we do this?
sometimes
Or
like that's the hard part is that like I looked on Zapplication and there's none in Indy. And like the closest one is in like
I think they have
fucking
Penrod and probably is Talbot the other big one
I
that's
think
in.
so, yeah. And like the closest one is like I don't know, in Columbus. Like for the next 5 months, you
Hmm.
know? And
Yeah,
and
there's not that many from what I've looked to on
yeah,
Zap.
so specifically like this one was like, "Hey, I got this email saying that we needed a few more people." And Rebecca had done it in the past and she made like $500 in like 4 hours. So that's worth it, right? And
If the
like
booth fee's not that much, yeah.
yeah, and so it was worth it and then like she did it again or I don't know if she did it again, but then she couldn't do this one because of the storefront. And so then she sent it to me and recommended me. Yeah, so it was just I was gonna sign up for October, and one of my friends actually ended up doing that, and I told her I was like, it's kind of nah, shmeh. Um,
Yeah.
and now I'm glad that she never got back to me about signing up for October because I'm not fucking doing it. So,
Yeah.
like, if you're not gonna promote your stuff,
Well,
like
yeah, I
I
mean that
fucking promote it, and I know nobody in Indy. Like, like
yeah.
nobody in Indy follows me on Instagram. Well, very few people in Indy. But I will say that I did meet one of my Instagram friends because she does follow me, and her friend, and her sister owns a vintage store out here, a vintage furniture store in Indy.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, um, I don't know if she'd want me to say her name on the interwebs, but it was really nice to meet her officially.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm asked about a show that I literally know zero about, well, first I'm going to be reluctant because I'm like, how far out is it from the show? Even
Yeah.
if I did have a free weekend, like, let's say it's like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
If you're just starting out, like, I would still say you should be a little picky about what shows you do.
Yeah.
Think about how far out is it from the show. If it's within like a month or 2 months from the show, they should already have vendors. They shouldn't be seeking out vendors that close to the show, in my opinion.
Right.
If they are, then they're trying to fill their quota of how many people
Yeah.
to make it happen. And then I would probably look up if there was past events for this show, I would look up and see what other vendors were in it. Maybe look up
Yeah.
their socials, see what they make, if they're kind of like in that vibe of what I make and if I would fit with the customer base.
Yeah.
And then, see if the business has a Facebook that's hosting it. What kind of following do they have? Do they have a website? Do they post
Right.
their events on their website? Um, are there any makers that are local that are in the same medium that I'm in that I could like reach out to and say, hey, just in general, have you done this show before? If you did, or I know that they've done it before because they were on the past vendor list, like, what's your experience with it? Like, that's the bare minimum I would do before I would
Yeah.
even consider it.
Well, and like this one, like I said, I had like, I had the reference and if I had made like $300, I would have been fine. Like
Hmm.
who cares, right? Like whatever. But yeah, now I'm pissed that they like didn't even like advertise it at all. And I
Hmm.
makes me want to send an email and I'm not like one of those people that's like, "Hey, you totally fucked us over by
Maybe I
not."
would. I mean, you could probably email it objectively, like, "Hey, I sold at your event on Saturday. I was a little disappointed with the results I had. I understand that some of it comes down to how much I can advertise, but I was a little disappointed that I didn't see
Any advertisement
you
from
all
you. Yeah.
advertise on your social media or have a Facebook event for it, or I don't know if they had an event on their website, but like that's the kind of stuff that would be objective for them to help And maybe it was because their event coordinator like quit
or
like
dropped
a
the
month
ball or
ago or
whatever.
something.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Who knows? Oh, I was gonna tell you this thing that I've been trying to remember for like 4 months.
Right.
So you know the sound. This is completely off topic. You know the sound that you get when you get like an Etsy order or whatever, it goes ching.
Yep.
Okay. I don't get that sound, but I do. So
Does
there is
Square have that sound?
no, there is some app on my phone that sound is the notification, but I can't figure out what app it is, why it's making the notification, and whenever it does make the notification, it doesn't say anything. It's like a secret silent
That's funny.
notification. So just randomly sometimes my phone's like cha-ching.
I think if there's other. I mean, you don't sell anything on like Facebook Marketplace or anything like that,
No,
do
I'm
you?
not selling anything. I've not sold anything for this
Yeah.
cha-ching to happen. And I just thought it was kind of funny.
Huh. Or eBay? Do you have eBay
Nope.
on your phone at all? No.
Nope.
That is strange. I
It
would
is.
Google that. I'm sure you could find an answer. Be
Yeah, I
like
don't
app
know.
that has cha-ching sound.
App that has cha-ching sound. Maybe I set it up
App
without like
push
knowing it.
notification cha-ching or something like that.
Cha-ching.
Like I'm sure you could find something besides Etsy.
Yeah, what's weird is that you can like scroll from the top down to see the notifications,
Mm-hmm.
but nothing happens.
You probably don't have the banners set or the lock screen
Oh,
notification
maybe.
set, but the sounds are on, and maybe there's no
Maybe.
badge number as well.
Yeah. Maybe. That's interesting.
But you'd have to go like app by app. But I would think you wouldn't hear it if it's an app that's uninstalled. So that would be one way to
Yeah.
narrow it down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So anyway, that's that.
Yeah.
Well, now that we've talked for 25 minutes, mostly it was about shows, so there was something
Yeah.
worthwhile in those 25 minutes.
One more thing to book in the show thing. Do you at all consider you're going to get into a show with the intention of coming back to the show if it's good? Like, are you getting
Yeah,
into a show with the intention that you're
I
in this
think
for like a long-term engagement more so than just the one-off show?
yeah, I think obviously like I would hope that any shows like that.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, now my position is a little bit different just because I don't know where I'm going to be next year, but hopefully I'll be around.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel like the different shows you do, you're kind of like planting seeds a little bit with the
Mhm.
customers that come to the show because it could be the first time they see you, but you can't be like,
Right.
well, the first time I did this show ever, it completely
Yeah.
failed.
Like that Noblesville show, I did like $1,000 that day. I mean, I'd totally come back for that.
Yeah.
That was a 1 day show. Like,
Oh, that's great for one day.
yeah, that was a 1 day. It could have been a lot less time than I was there, but that was totally my decision. Um, but yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I'd totally go back to that.
Yeah. And then there's some that you can be like objectively, I didn't like the way it was run or something
Right.
just didn't work or the load in load out was like terrible, so it
Yeah.
wasn't worth it. Besides just the sales, like there's other factors that make it worth
Yeah.
coming
To
back or
be
not.
honest, to be completely honest, I'm more surprised when the load and load out is good.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, ugh. Oh man, the Noblesville show was easy peasy, like parked right in front of where I was supposed to be, and I got to stay there all day.
Yeah,
Like that
that's
was
gonna
fucking
add some pluses
great.
for sure. If you can
Yeah,
stop your car right in front of your booth and offload and not have to dolly anything, that's like
that's like
ideal. I might come
magic.
back just for that.
Yeah, like that was worth it. But yeah, like that one, like 1 year anniversary show. I don't know if I told you this. That was the one with like the brunch people. But they had us like park in the back and like bring everything up front, and there was like an alleyway, and they could have just blocked off the alley for us to like unload, but they didn't. Thankfully, I think that I brought my car up and then just like dropped off pots and then moved it back. I tried to dolly my stuff through this road and it was like classic. If anybody's been to Indianapolis, it was like a classic Indianapolis alley. Like my cart got
Potholes
so
everywhere,
fucking
probably.
stuck. Yeah, it got so stuck that like I couldn't even move it. Like there was like 4 guys that had to help me like kind of like just haul things to my space. It was
Yeah.
terrible.
There's
And then
got to
when
be
I left,
relatively easy in and out
right.
for places that are going to have events. Like,
Yeah, when I
you can't be
left, I
expecting
just
people hauling
yeah.
things to just go through terrible,
Yeah. I
like no
blocked off the entire
parking.
alley when I left. I was like, "Fuck you guys." It took me like 4 minutes to load up my car. I made everything was like ready to go and like 4 cars were like behind me and I was like, "I don't care. I don't care. I have nowhere else to go." But
Jeez.
yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What are we talking about today?
Well, we're talking about our favorite subject.
Favorite time of year?
Favorite time of year. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
In
Halloween. I'm kidding. Guess what it is? Pot swap.
Hot
Whoop,
swap
whoop, whoop.
season. Whoop whoop. Bow, 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 bow.
Um, if anybody's been listening for a long time, you know that me and Ryan are not exactly the most excited about pot swap, but we do enjoy it to a point. It's just a lot of work.
I feel like we build up that feeling up until it starts, and then when people start sharing and start
And then we're like, "Oh, this is so
appreciating
much
it, we're
fun.
like,
We love
okay,
it."
this makes it worth doing it, you know?
That's so true. It's like anticipating something that's so terrible and then doing it and being like, "Ugh, this was easy."
But I think we've went through the worst years that
I
have
agree.
been.
I agree.
And not worse as in like people are doing terrible shit. It's just
No, it's just a lot of work.
yeah, under what is the word? Under something.
Underestimating?
Underestimating the amount of
Okay.
emails and messages that we get that we have to show attention to.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to the things that we already do day to day.
Yeah.
On top of it.
Okay, so yeah, so for all of the people that don't know at all what we're talking about that are new to the podcast in the last year, Ryan, would you like to explain what pot swap is?
Okay, short and sweet. Pot swap is a secret Santa for ceramic artists all over the world.
Of all shapes and sizes.
Yes. All experience levels.
Entry levels. Yeah.
You sign up. You send a piece to somebody. You get a piece back. Most likely
from somebody
not from
else.
the person you're sending to. Yeah. And that's it.
That's it.
That's the basics of what it is.
Yeah.
There are some details in there of how, putting some specifications of I do not want to ship international or I'm willing to ship international or that's pretty much it, honestly.
Yeah.
You have to sign up within a certain time.
Yeah.
We only have a certain amount of spots, limited spots.
Last year we had 750, I think. 700?
I think it was 720.
720?
I think we were going to cap it at 700, and then we ended up getting some more people at the last minute, and we were like, well, we're not going to turn them away.
Yeah. What do you think is our cap this year? We haven't even talked. By the way, we haven't even talked about this. We've talked a little bit, but really
this is the first time that we've really officially talked about it.
Yeah, we thought that we would just leave it over the interwebs.
I believe the year before that we were at 500, correct?
Yeah, we were at 100, 250, 500, and then we were gonna do 1,000 last year.
No, I thought we were gonna do 600.
Oh, we were going to do
650, and then we ended up getting more, and then we were like, let's just go to 700 or whatever.
Okay.
I mean, I personally feel like 800 is not enough to go from 720 to 800. And then I'm like, well, if we went to 900, that would just seem weird because it's 900, which is almost 1,000.
We might as well just go to 1,000.
But then I'm like, what issues do we opening it to 1,000 people versus 720
I
people?
don't think you have any more issues than 720. Lloyd, what the fuck?
I have the good cat over here. She's laying right here.
Aw, Marbs.
Marbs is my sidekick that's laying very nicely.
Lloyd is such an attached cat. He's like my lap dog.
Yeah.
And just like Marvel. And whenever I'm sleeping, he has to be touching me. So like
reach out a paw and he's just like touching you.
No, like he like snuggles his butt up to my legs and like sits like half on them and half off.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and then Babs is usually on the other side, so I'm completely smashed in between the two of them.
That's anyway. Like Autumn will snuggle up in Rachel's. I call it her crook because she like will lay on her side, and then she'll like snuggle up into a ball like between like her butt and her back of her knees.
Yep, that's what Lloyd does.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then sometimes she'll do that to me too if I like will like spread my legs a little bit and she'll like just nestle right between my legs.
Mm-hmm. It becomes very frustrating when you wake up, but other than that, it's fine.
Yeah. And then Marvel will just plop down on my chest right before I go to sleep.
Right, because Marvel's Marvel.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you think for number? I mean,
I think 1,000 is fine.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to run into any more problems than we've run into in the past. Now, let's talk about the problems that we've run into in the past.
Okay.
So that we have like full disclosure of what you're getting into as a pot swap participant. First of all, last year we have had to 86 a few people from pot swap because they never sent their pieces.
Yeah.
And
we had to start a list.
And so those people will not be participating this year. And we do not tolerate shittiness. So
yeah, like if you sign up for something, it's voluntary. You decide to sign up. You're excited about it. I get it. And you say you can do it. If something comes up, and we didn't just 86 these people because the person that didn't get it told us they didn't get it.
No.
They also didn't get any kind of contact from the person that was sending to them. And we've given them ample information to contact the person they were sending to. I get it. You feel like you have to put your tail between your legs a little bit and say, I'm sorry, I couldn't do this. But you kind of have to.
But also on the flip side of that is why we have a fund of some money and potters that are willing and happy to send pots to people that just never receive something. Like last year, I think we had like 6 people.
We had more than 6.
It was more like we had a bunch of people
15 to 20 people that sent a second piece to somebody else that was randomly that said like, hey, I did not get anything and I did not get any contact. So the people that did not send something and didn't let the person know or let them know like, hey, it's going to be late. I get it. I was sending to you. And, basically they go unanswered. Like we contact them a little bit. We're not going to kill ourselves to make sure that they take it up their end of the deal. But we let them know like, hey, you haven't sent anything or I don't even know if we did that. Did we even say like, hey, we heard you didn't send anything? Like we put it on you. Like, hey, here's all the info. And then at a certain point in time, we let all the receivers know, here's the person that's sent to you. If you didn't get it yet, please reach out to them and say, hey, can you give me an update? I haven't received anything. I just want to make sure, which kind of puts them in a weird spot being the receiver. Like, hey, you didn't send me something yet, but we can't manage emailing hundreds of people or.
Yeah. As we've grown to be bigger, when it was 100 people, it was a lot easier to manage. As we've grown to be bigger, it's been more on the individuals in the pot swap to kind of own their own, essentially. And some people get hurt, and it's really sad. And we try to make that right by, like we said, by other people sending pots to them once we find out, but there's no way to find out until somebody tells us.
Yeah.
So that's a super bummer, but also out of like the 700 people, I think it was like maybe 10 or 15. Which is
Yeah.
extremely great, an extremely great ratio, honestly, for
Yeah. I mean, we also don't know if there's people that didn't receive something that just didn't tell us that they
didn't
didn't
say
receive
anything.
something. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, success rate like at least 90% in my
At
mind. That's
least.
probably what it is. But I mean, we know there's going to be issues with transit sometimes, especially if you're shipping international or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these potters might have been shipping for the first time,
Right. And like
possibly.
a lot of times, if you are shipping internationally and you're scared about it, you can just reach out beforehand and be like, hey, I got you. I'm sending to you. I just want you to know that, this is when it's coming or whatever. Like there's
Hmm.
no real rules. But I think that the biggest thing that we try to convey within Pot Swap is that it's fun. It's supposed to be fun. It's not about like who has the best pots. It's not about like if you're really great or really new. Um, if you're really new, you have just as much quality to give to somebody as a really great potter. Like if you get somebody new, you have the ability to maybe reach out to that person and be a mentor to them if you're in pots for a long time, or a new potter has the ability to like tell their story and why they're in pottery and stuff like that. We really try to push that because so like basically if you're concerned about only the quality of your pots that you're going to get, you should not participate.
Yeah, it's more about giving than receiving. So if you're
It's
like, I was
absolutely.
expecting to get an amazing pot, even if it's from somebody that's like Insta famous or whatever, and you're like, I expected to get one of their best pieces that they make from their traditional line of work. It's
Yeah.
like, or I expected to get something personalized just for pot swap.
Yeah.
Like manage your expectations of what you're like, send out what you're proud to send out, and then
Be
be open
happy.
to receiving, and hopefully it, I wouldn't say meet your expectations, but like be open to receiving something, whether it meets what you expect it to be or not.
Yeah.
It's more about the
Yeah.
thought that counts in the simplest form, I guess. But
Yeah, and it is like in the very base form, like we want this to be something that it's not about just what you get, but about the connections that you can make. You know?
hmm
We would have never we would have never met Josh if it hadn't been for Pot Swap, you know?
hmm
And um and like I there's people that I know Val still communicates with all like with one of her Pot Swap people and like from the very beginning and stuff. So yeah, it's just like a community building situation and it's more about giving than getting and yeah, there's no guarantee that you'll get a pot that meets your quote unquote expectations. Um uh and that's just the way it is.
yeah, I don't think you. And there's been some ideas floated because we ask for feedback every single year that we do this from all the participants, and
Yeah.
one of the feedback items that we get often is I feel like my skill level didn't match the thing that I got in return.
Mhm.
So I sent out this not expert level, but
Intermediate
knowledgeable
level.
level, intermediate
Yeah.
level, like maybe they sell at shows and they have a business. They're sending it out and they get back a beginner piece. And they're
Yeah.
like, it doesn't match what I sent out, like value for value. I feel like you shouldn't look at it value for value
Yeah.
in this aspect. You need to send it as like this is a piece of me that I'm sending out
Mhm.
and I'm wanting to put out there and give to you. Um, and there's been mention of like, can we put it in tiers where you have to specify like I'm a beginner and then you match beginners with beginners and you match intermediate with intermediate and advanced with advancement. And then it's like, who
No.
are we to say who falls in what bucket?
Yeah.
And then, okay, so when do you advance to the next tier? And then, you know, I feel like it adds more fun to just see what you get.
Yeah. It's not fair. We never said it would be. It's it's not a fair trade. and we never said it would be, but it is a valuable trade. I think that's the key. If you keep your mind open and your heart open and like really try, it can be extremely valuable.
Yeah. And then there's some people that you're just never going to please with.
Nope.
So that's also expected too. And we'll get emails about that. Or we'll get feedback about that. And we'll look at it. We'll glean what we can from it. But then we'll probably just laugh.
Yeah.
Because some of it's kind of funny.
Yeah, that's true. So. That's true. I always try to make like in the past I've made like some pretty extravagant like pot swaps.
Yeah, there's some people, especially if you're sending international, like sending something, or even just local, like let's say you're in Kentucky and I'm sending to California, like sending things that are local to your area that would be interesting. I've had some people that mention like they're sending from Canada and they're sending somewhere and they've got things that are local to them that are like little treats and things and candies that they'll send with it, which is nice to receive as well as the pots. So
yeah, like when I lived in Monroe, I sent like a really fun like little thumb cup with a straw indent, and I found like a local glass blower that made straws, and then I sent like chocolate coffee beans and like all locally made pieces, and it was so much fun, and it went to England. And they opened it up and they were like, this is so great, and it like warmed my heart just to see their response to it, and how excited they were to get it. That was really cool. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, that's the folks that go above and beyond on who they're sending to.
That's me. I am that person.
Yeah, there's some people that are going to go above and beyond. I would say manage your expectations if you don't expect that that's going to happen for everybody. But
yeah, definitely don't expect. But like, if you want to be that person, be that person. To send like that, I'm a giver, and also nothing ever, Christmas is not a thing for me really. And so being able to give somebody something fun that they like is what makes my Christmas fun. So
yeah, so it's meant the timing wise, it's like we sign up late fall, mid fall, or like October timeframe, and then the intention is that you would get it around the end of the year when the holidays are typically, around the end of December, and then into early, 2023, early January, something like that, depending on delays and things like that. But that's kind of the intention.
And hopefully by the time that we release this, we'll have some dates, and I probably put them at the very beginning of this podcast, or we'll put them at the end. So hopefully we have some dates that are solid, and I think this podcast is coming out on October 1st. So hopefully it's going to be sometime mid-October that we have signups.
Yeah. So when you hear this, you should have in mind, like, I want to be doing this. If you do, maybe you already have pieces that you want to send. Maybe maybe you can make a piece if you want to make something custom. I don't know. Some people want to know who they're going to get so they can do some homework and then they can make something tailored to them. But don't feel like you have to do that. You can also just send a piece you're proud of.
Right.
And, it's totally up to you. And some people have also mentioned, like, I wish we could just do like just mugs. So it's but it's like, not everybody makes mugs.
Some people hand build. I'm not sending a fucking mug.
What'd you say?
I don't make mugs. I'm not sending a fucking mug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if somebody else wants to do some mug swap or bowl swap out there, like, do that.
Do that.
Or leaving it open-ended. Leave it up to your creativity of what you want to do.
Yeah. Absolutely. We want you to have as much fun as humanly possible.
Yeah. I feel like the more rules and regulations we put on it, and like, you have to do this, we have to put it in tier, like, we're adding more complexity for ourselves as well as just room for, I don't know, I feel like disappointment or like.
I agree. I think that the more rules you put, the more disappointment you get because you expect more. And I think your expectations should just be low. Just like, not low, but I mean, like, expect the bare minimum. And when you get something that's awesome, be excited, And that's that, What was I gonna say? So it's probably October 1st or somewhere near that you're listening to this now. So signups will probably be in the next couple of weeks. So keep a watch out. And like I said, we will try and get that figured out before we release this, so we can put it at the beginning or the end. But yeah, and we give you enough time to get them done. I don't think last year.
I mean, you're basically going to have a month and a half to get a piece done. So
yeah, like last
even
year,
if you're in a
shipping
community
date,
studio situation, you
should
should
be
be able to hear this, sign up. You should be making stuff before you even sign up or when you're about to sign up. So
yeah, last year I think our international was like the first of the year, and then
1st of December.
Yeah, the 1st of December.
Are you talking about deadlines for sending out?
Yeah, for sending out, and then like now, and then interstate.
Domestic.
Domestic was like, I don't know, 7
a week after that or 10 days after that.
So that's what you can probably expect. But yeah.
And that'll be all part of the application. So when you sign up, it's basically going to be
it's a Google form.
Name, email, your address. Obviously, be specific about your address. Some people are going to leave off their city, state, zip code, everything. They're going to put a street address, and we're going to have to play Adrian Monk and figure out where the fuck that is. I was trying to think of another detective, but I don't know.
I think like Monk is a good comparison for this one. Yeah, no, that is like, please just put your goddamn address correctly.
We don't ask for much, but please put your entire address in there. I get it. You're excited to sign up and you want to make sure you get in before the last spot is filled, but please do that at a minimum. Fill out your entire address.
And if you live in a different country, like some Asian country or a Swedish country, or
I feel like those get filled out the best, honestly.
Those usually are the best, but just make sure you put everything that we need to know.
Yes, because we are not familiar. We can Google some of these, but some of these we don't know exactly what we're Googling.
Last year was one. There was one in like Mexico City or something, and I was like, I don't know if this is right or not, but we're just gonna go with it.
Yeah,
I think it ended up being just fine. But
yeah, I'm pretty familiar with U.S. and Canada addresses, but
yeah,
outside of that, I'm a little sketchy on what's required.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, we get people from all over. I would say the majority of people are in the US, and then Canada's probably narrowly behind along with the UK, and then we'll get a few here and there from, South America, Mexico.
I think we got Japan last year, which was awesome. Australia.
Yeah, we usually get a couple Australia, New Zealand maybe.
New Zealand.
We definitely get, I think we've got a couple India before, maybe.
Yep, and Germany and
Malaysia, usually we'll get one from there. I don't know, have we had any on the continent of Africa before?
I think we have.
South Africa? We've had South Africa before.
I think South Africa, but not like Africa proper.
It's still Africa, but yeah.
I know, like, there's been nothing from like Ghana, Nigeria, or anything like that.
Yeah. And then we'll get a few around Europe, like some Germany and Spain
and Sweden and Norwegian, which is cool. I think that's the coolest part, is just to see how these like different countries are like. There's usually just like one from each country, and I just think that that's like, wow, how did we reach them?
Right. That is interesting.
Yeah. Oh, also, we will ask for volunteers if people want to volunteer. So, if you like to,
we typically have a team of about 10 folks.
Yeah.
And what do they mostly help out with, Becca?
So, the team helps out. You're not helping all at once. Typically you sign up for a week, and that week you share who you are. You share like maybe if you've participated before and what you've received, and then you field questions via Instagram, and I think that's about it.
Yeah, and we haven't really talked about Instagram portion, but the Instagram that is focal to this whole thing, I'm sure you probably already know if you've listened to this and participated before, but at PodSwap Official is the one and only Instagram account for this event specifically.
Yeah.
And that's the Instagram account. And what will happen is we'll say, hey, we're using hashtag PotSwap 2022. We basically just change it every year.
Yep.
And then whenever you share, you can tag PotSwap Official on your stories when you're making things, like, hey, as you're making things, be tagging us, let us know, and then we'll share it to our stories. So that's a lot of what the group is helping with. And so we'll get people that'll create posts and say, hey, I'm working in the studio making my piece for PotSwap Official. Looking forward to it. Hashtag PotSwap 2022. And then people can follow that hashtag if they want and see what people are posting and what's going on and get excited about it. And then that's also a way for you to cross-pollinate like other people's work. So it's a great way to find new artists.
Yeah, super good.
Create new connections like we've kind of talked about already, whether it's the person that you're sending to or you're receiving from, but also just if you follow the PotSwap Official account, you'll see tons of stories of people's work as they're getting things made, as well as once people start receiving. That's like the most exciting part, I think, once people start receiving and unboxing and, oh, that's cool, see what they made. Or when people are sending it out, they're like, I'm packaging up this piece, and then you like see them wrap it up and you're like, I hope I get that piece, or I wonder who's going to get that. And then they send it out and they're tagging us and people are unboxing and sharing. So
and we I don't know about you, but I specifically asked that you maybe refrain from tagging me personally in the PotSwap Official posts.
I will probably not be sharing PotSwap specific things on my account because that'll bog down my own account.
Just because it has gotten
tag
so
us
big
and say like thanks for hosting and whatnot, but
we just won't reshare it. Like, it's just because it has gotten so big that it's a lot for us, and that's why we have the team and that extra Instagram and an extra email. Like it's all separate, just because when we first did it, we were aware very quickly that
the first year we did it, we basically hosted ourselves and asked for people to DM us their information.
I put in every single person's address and email, and like we didn't even do a Google form. I don't even know why we never did that. Like
we had 100 participants and we were like, we don't know how big this is going to be, and we were like, signups are open, DM us if you want to participate. And then we literally and then we had to decide when the cutoff was because we were like, are we at 100 yet? We got to manually put in the people as we get them. So
oh my God, I remember that day specifically.
That was horrible.
It was horrible, but it was good too. Like it was so exciting. It was like we thought we'd get 20 people,
Yeah. And that was probably getting people signing up on our personal accounts. I think I would get DMs when I like posted it. Yeah. And then you would get DMs. So you had to put your list in there and I had to put my list in there. So we had to like see like what numbers we were at.
Yeah.
And then I don't even know if it was the second year that we created the PotSwap Official account, but
I think we might have created it the first year and like got most of it from there, but I don't know for sure. I can't remember.
It wasn't one central account when we started. So, and I think this is our official 5th year that we've done it.
Yeah, it's grown so much. And I know that so many people get so much like value from it,
Yeah.
Just today, like just yesterday when I met, when the person came and met me at the show, she was like, I'm going to help with, doing PotSwap this year. I'm so excited. I love it so much. I'm so glad you guys do it. So like, it's something that people look forward to all year long.
Mm-hmm. And then they'll ask, can we do this again in like mid-year?
No, you can do it again.
Somebody else can do it.
It's a full-time job for us. And with that being said,
right at the holidays while we're doing everything else.
Yeah, but like I said, we do love it. We just, it's a lot. But with that being said, this year we will have a donation tab on the bottom of like one or two of the emails. And we ask that you donate maybe $1 or $2, $3, $5, whatever you want. Nothing much, but what that does is that gives us a little extra wiggle room. We have an email service that we have to use.
We have a mail merge service that is a yearly fee.
And then we also like to, give gifts to the people that are on the team, and then we go out for a fancy ass dinner.
Yes.
Oh, and it covers the people that never get anything, so that we can pay for shipping.
You should have said that before the fancy.
I should have said that before, but actually, like, that's the really the real reason is.
Yeah. So if people just drop the ball and they don't send anything, and you feel bad if somebody has to ship something and spend an extra $10 or $15 or $20 to send out. You're already covering shipping yourself because somebody's sending you something, so they're paying for shipping on their side, even though it might not be the equivalent price of shipping. That's kind of your own donation to put forth how much you pay for your own shipping, your own pot to somebody, and then they have to send a second one. We're willing to pay for the shipping that they need.
More than willing. Yeah.
And we have funds to do that because people donate. And it's also just like, hey, if you appreciate doing Pot Swap, it's not saying that if you don't donate, we're going to kill Pot Swap. But like, if you appreciate it and you get value out of it and you want to give back to the team that helps put it on and make it successful year after year, having a few people donate $1 is going to go a long way.
Totally. So. It's like, we're like the Mormon church. Everybody donates everything in this situation. So like, no, nobody's getting paid.
Yeah, I mean, and the whole thing is free to participate in. The only thing that's costing you is to ship it out. So if you have
and to make it,
to the materials to make it, send it, the value of all that stuff. But yeah, and it's totally up to you. If you want to participate, you can. If you don't, then you don't have to.
Yeah, and you don't have to donate either. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
What did we do with we finally went on our dinner like
we did
5 months ago. I've May?
Never regretted my choice of like food choices as much as I did that dinner.
Yeah. I literally would never spend that much money and eat a nice dinner.
Never.
On my own, unless my company's paying for it.
I feel like I should say this. The reason that I regretted my choices was because Rachel ordered something that was so much better than mine. Yeah.
Because she had a lot more food than you did.
Her pesto was delicious. It was so good. And I'm like, I can cook a steak.
I don't think I can cook a steak, but
anyway, we went out to this wonderful dinner and it was a blast.
It was Becca, myself, and my wife Rachel.
Yep. And it was like super fancy and
I had to get a reservation and
and we told them
dapper.
we're celebrating ourselves.
Yeah, I think Becca was kind of turning off the waiters and waitresses.
I disagree. I got us a free dessert. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Well, that waiter number 1 was chuckling a little bit, but he was probably like, "All right."
Okay, whatever. Yeah. Okay. I got us a free dessert, and we got like sorbet that was like
melted.
Half melted.
The freezer broke, and we got the sorbet that's left.
Yeah, I was like, "What's that?" And they're like, "Well, our freezer broke." And I was like, "That's okay.
We'll take it."
We'll take it. And like the best carrot cake. Oh my God, that was so good. And big.
Yes. That was good.
And then Ryan got a steak and I got a steak and Rachel got pesto.
Yes. And everybody finished about 20 minutes before I did.
Which is normal because Ryan has to chew a lot.
I have to eat slow and savor it. Becca's like eating like it's, dinner time in the yard or something.
I'm sorry that
she's worried that somebody's gonna steal her food.
I eat really fast, and it's not. I've been working on it. Okay, and I slowed down. I've been working on it. I just I tend to like inhale my food. I don't know why. I think I like it. I just like it a lot.
Yeah, I don't mind eating slow. Obviously, it's better for not getting like stuff caught in my throat and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Ryan, that has tended to happen with my eating like barbecue and things like that.
Yeah, Ryan has a small throat for some reason.
Yeah,
and can't eat like pulled pork and stuff like that, or else it gets caught in
ribs.
Not a thing. Can't do it. So we got to watch them like a hawk.
Yeah, so we will treat ourselves, but
not after all this stuff is paid for. Like it took us
we'll treat ourselves about 6 months afterwards.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of what else we should tell people about.
Oh, we should probably talk about international shipping and what you should expect. So, if you choose to ship internationally, you can choose. There's an option for no, I'd rather not, or yes, I'm fine with it. Now, if you are international and you choose domestic, we will try and find the closest person to you, but no guarantees.
Not closest. Like if you're in Ohio, we're not going to send you somebody in Kentucky. But if you're in
if
like
you're international,
Germany,
yeah, if you're international and you're from Germany and
like
you're like, I don't want to send, I don't want to send to the
close.
United States. We'll send to a country that's near you. But if you do ship internationally and you are from the United States, we can at least tell you how much it probably will cost. So typically international sales, if your item is less than 2 pounds, it's going to be about $20 to $30. If you're over that 2 pound mark, you're looking at like 30 to 40. And then if you're at 4 pounds, you're probably at 50. So those are the kind of costs that you can expect shipping internationally, even to Canada. So, yes.
From the U.S.
From the U.S. I actually just shipped to Canada via UPS instead of USPS. This last weekend, I think, and also, okay, anyway, I think that if the value of the item is less than $20, they don't add any extra fees to it, but if it's more than, they add extra fees. So I would recommend going USPS if you can. You always have to mark it as a gift. There is a tariff code that you must put on your piece, under the customs in like the particular, in the declarations in the particular piece, and that's on our Instagram on the highlights. And you have to market it as a gift under $15.
You just said 20.
I know, but try 15. $20 is the UPS standard, I believe, but under $15, under and around $15 value, regardless of what it actually costs. Those are what we found to be adequate as far as shipping. Some places require a phone number, and somebody said that they just find a phone number that's like similar in that area and just plug it in.
I mean, also if you're shipping international, some people are like, I want to keep it as good a secret as I possibly can. But if you're shipping international, if you have any questions, I would not be reluctant to email the person you're going to be sending to make sure that things line up so that they can receive it. So, would you be more disappointed if they receive it and they know kind of that you're sending it to them, or that you kept it a secret and they literally never got it?
Right. And a way to avoid showing who yourself is, like, like you can have a friend, ask a friend. Like if you have a friend that maybe an Instagram friend,
that is not one of us.
Them. That's not one of us. We are not your friend. Contact.
No, don't say like, hey, can you all tell my person that I'm going to be sending and find out this form? Like, we're not going to be the middle people.
But you have friends, and you can have somebody do that. Say, hey, I have a friend that's sending you a pot for pot swap. They didn't want to tell you who it was, but I'm wondering what your phone number is and if I need to put anything specifically. And they can contact them through that person. That way you don't have to share the secret, but at least it's a little bit more concrete. Yeah.
Also, the pot swap information about shipping international is on our website.
Oh, it's on the website too.
Yeah, with the tariff code and all that good stuff.
Fancy.
Wheel Talk Podcast, POTcast.com. And pot swap is up in the main navigation. So it's got all the info for the deadlines and stuff for 2021. So those are not the official things for 2022. So don't look at that part. But
I should probably remove that at least for the time being.
We will update this for 2022 when all the details are correct and ready to go. But by the time
Yep.
they hear this, it'll probably be updated. So
Yeah,
maybe.
probably. I'll get on it probably this weekend.
So
it is the end of the weekend. I will get on it tonight and probably hide it.
Yeah, so the main place you need to be if you're all excited about it, you're like, I want to make sure I get my spot, all that good stuff. Follow Potswap Official. That's the place that we're gonna announce everything. You know, you might hear some of it on the podcast, so the podcast is not a bad place to go to hear about it. But Potswap Official Instagram account, if you need to set notifications on the posts or set notifications on stories or whatever, do all that you need to do to make sure you get notified and don't miss out. We will get people that miss it and say, "Oh, I wish I would have got it." That's going to happen. Don't be that person that misses out.
Share it to your friends, send it to your friends. And the
signups last year, so we had 720. I want to say it's not like a 4-hour time frame that they all fill up, because obviously there are people all over the world. We don't want to set signups that really put folks that are outside the US at a disadvantage, that it's in the middle of their night or something. So typically we schedule it, it's open at a certain time, and then last year it filled up in about 24 to 30 hours, I think. 36 hours.
Yeah, it wasn't like immediate. There's enough people there that.
Yeah, and we'll be at 1,000 this year, hopefully. So I would say if you get signed up within the first 24 hours of it being open, you will be good.
Yeah.
And then the one other thing to note that you might want to do this, if you've already joined, you will get a head start, because past participants, I'm assuming we're going to do this again, right? The past participant.
Yeah.
So previous years, if you have participated in the past, we have your emails, right? Because you've already sent. And we let the folks know, hey, you get a head start. You can sign up a day early. Here's a link to the form to sign up for Potswap 2022. Yeah. So you'll get notified 24 hours before anybody else gets in. I think it's 24 hours. It might be a little bit before that, but it's something like that. You'll get a day head start to get in there. So if you've already signed up in the past, or 2021, if you're in 2021, you will get a head start, and then you can get in there. Don't worry about it. You don't have to deal with the hustle bustle of everybody that's new trying to get in there and get the last spots.
Yeah.
But you should sign up. Don't wait. If you see the signups are open and then you're like, oh, I need to check back and make sure I have, like, obviously you should know that you can commit to it. Open the application. Make sure you can commit to the dates that you're going to agree to. You know, let's say you can't commit to December 1st because you can't make that. You know, don't ship international, because that's probably going to be the deadline for international.
Yeah.
So maybe do the domestic one and go from there.
I just updated the website.
Oh, really?
So now it says that the timeline is coming soon. There we go.
Okay. I was like, hard refresh. So I don't see it, but whatever. It'll be updated.
Oh, maybe it didn't update it.
That's all right. So yes, let me look over the details here. And basically we'll have signups, right? It looks like we set the cap at 600 last year and we went to 720 somehow.
Okay.
So we'll have the signups, and then once you fill out that form, if you get the form filled out successfully, you submit it, you're in. You don't have to like follow up and be like, hey, am I in? Did I get in? Did I get in time? Like, if the form is up and you submitted it, you're in.
Yep.
And then we'll send out emails to everybody that's in and say, hey, you're officially in. Congratulations. Start making stuff. And then we'll send out assignments about 2 weeks later, because we have to do some mixing up and shuffling and making sure that people are matched with the right areas so that they're not shipping international if they didn't want to, and all that good stuff. And then you can go from there. So
yeah,
you'll have your person, and then we'll send a reminder a few weeks later as we get close to the deadlines and say, hey, we're getting close. Like, just so you know, send out by this date, send out by this date, depending on where you're shipping it.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. Like, we're not pestering people to send it out. We're not going one by one to make sure who sent it out, and you need to tell us once you've sent it out with the tracking. Like, we're not going to those links. You need to take care of all that stuff yourself.
Yep.
And if you can't meet those commitments, then you need to tell the person you're sending to that you're going to be late, or what's going on.
Yep.
And I think that's pretty much everything. So
yeah, sounds good to me.
And we will reveal who you got partnered with. We won't send a list to everybody of what everybody got, but we'll send out a list of, hey, you are the receiver from this person. Here's the info. If you haven't got it yet, like, reach out to them.
Here's their email and their Instagram name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you can reach out if you need to.
Yep. Can I do a little plug? P.S.
Sure.
By the time this is out, I should have T-shirts up on my not on my Instagram, on my Etsy, because I made an.
You made an Etsy shop.
Well, I've already had an Etsy shop for years, but I reopened it and put these T-shirts on it because you can put them through the T-shirts, and they're made in a company in the United States and sent out. So it's made to order. So
what's the Etsy shop?
What?
What's the Etsy shop?
5 Lines Pottery. What else would it be?
They're already on there?
There's 5 on there, I think.
Okay.
But I just had them send me a sample of one, and you can get them in different colors. There's different colors, and yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to save up money for my van, so I'm hoping that some pottery T-shirts and maker T-shirts can help with that. So, some passive income.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's been a while since your last review was from March 2017.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Wow.
Been a minute.
Nice.
So.
Sweet.
Do you want to buy one, and then we should see how it works?
The checkout? Yeah.
Well,
do you have? I would update the photos so they're not just the white T-shirts. So
I'm going to. But I should get you one of the ones that you like the most, and then you can buy it, and I'll just repay for it. I'll just pay for it. I'll just give you $20.
Sweet. Then you'll figure out the shipping and all that.
Yeah, then we can see how it works and everything like that, and how it's.
Heather Peach. That's cool. So so when the orders go through here, you have to manually go into the other site and submit an order?
You know what? I don't know, because I haven't done that yet. So.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Cool.
So that's what you're going to help me with.
Number 5, Lines Pottery.
Yeah.
On Etsy.
Maybe I'll put up some spoon rests, see if I can sell spoon rests on the Etsy.
Nice. Clothing for makers. Oh, yeah. And then I'm surprised Etsy made changes on their announcements, I thought, because I tried to put a website in mine recently, and it wouldn't let me do it.
Oh, I put that in years and years and years and years ago.
I bet they changed it.
Yeah.
Because it says your announcement was last updated in August 2018, so I wonder if they made changes since then.
Yeah.
That if you upload it, it'll remove it.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so I'm gonna do T-shirts and then tank tops and in different colors, and I'm gonna do white ones too, where there's dark T-shirts with white letters. So.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. I just have to I've had a headache. Like I said, I've had a headache all day today, so I've been doing pretty good. I've been learning about it, and it's really easy as far as I can. I'm using Printify. I found that out from Andrew that Printful, the one we were gonna use, is homophobic, so that's great. So now I'm not allowed to use it. So
okay.
So, but Printify is inclusive and not racist and all the things. So, yeah. That's why it helps to have a friend that is very much into that stuff to tell you all the things that you have to
first
do.
when you said Andrew, I was thinking Andrew Linderman, and then I was like,
No.
okay, that makes more sense now.
My Andrew.
Yeah.
My Andrew.
I was like,
only...
did Andrew Linderman use that for his shirt company? But I was like,
no.
Oh, okay, this makes more sense. It's not Andrew
my
Linderman.
Andrew
it's
is
Andrew.
my Andrew is extremely concerned about the ethics of companies, which is good, as he should be. So, yeah.
Okay, so look out for that.
Look out for that.
And if you get one, share it and post it and be
please, because I think that a lot of potters like them. I'm gonna get ones that say, I am not the artist. I know nothing. They are the artist.
So somebody can wear it at the show, and then
so your partner can wear it at the show, so they don't get all the questions. Oh, are you the potter? No.
Yeah, and then there's people that'll be like, you made all this? Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I did the one that says, I made all of these.
Yes, I made this all myself.
Yeah, Taylor said I had to do that one. They were like, I get that asked every single time. Multiple times.
Yeah, it depends on the show you're at. Some shows, like, people understand that everything's handmade there.
Yeah.
And the other people don't, that are like just casuals that are going out to an art show that don't typically go to art shows a ton. So they're, browsing and they just don't know.
Yeah.
Which I don't fault them for it. I mean, it may seem like a dumb question if you've already got it a number of times, but to them,
it's
like,
the way it is. Yeah.
It's just a regular question for them. So.
Yep, for sure. Okay, well, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Whee! Get in there, sign up. PodSwap 2022.
Woo!
1,000 folks. It's gonna be huge.
Huge. Yeah, 1,000 people this year.
Yep.
Fuck.
Big splash for year 5.
Get it. Okay.
I think we've sunset some of the other PodSwaps that are out there. I don't hear about any other PodSwaps out there anymore. I don't know.
I mean, we got blocked from that one.
And I think the Bull Swap, I don't know if they stopped doing it, but
I
participated in a couple times they did it. But
if you are interested in making a pot swap, we absolutely recommend that you do.
You can even reach out to us and ask us advice, because we've talked to a couple different people about running it and organizing it to have it successful and not get overwhelmed.
Yeah. So, like, if you are one of those people that wants a tiered pot swap and you want to do it on your own, go for it. Do it. Ask us how to do it. We're more than happy to help.
Yeah. It helps if you have more than one person leading it too.
Yes.
So you can share the responsibility.
Very helpful. I'm the email person. Ryan's the behind the scenes person.
Tech person.
Tech. I do all of the organization of names, randomizations of names, making sure people are in right areas and stuff. Yeah. But I feel like we fit into our roles very well, me and you, in anything that we do, you know?
Yeah. And then having the group of folks to help us out always.
That's
is great. Like, we started doing that, I think, 2 years ago.
It's amazing.
And it was amazing.
Amazing. Life changing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Okay.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening.
Thanks.
We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.